Welcome home. We are WNST, AM 1570, Towson, Baltimore, and Baltimore Positive. We're positively here at Faidley's Seafood. It's a little slow right now. It's like sort of the after the lunch, but before the ball game. Luke was here earlier. Bill Henry, our city controller, was here talking about where the money goes. I have Pac-Man Scratch-Off. Speaking of money, I've given away a few of these. So we have some winners already today. We'll be having the Lucky Sevens the next time we're here a few weeks from now. We are doing the Crab Cake Tour all over the place next week. We're going to be at Cooper's North in Timonium, and we're going to be back down in Fells Point for Fleet Week. We're going to be at State Fair in Catonsville, which this lady knows all about, in the parking lot. We're going to be there next Thursday morning for brunch before the Orioles-Blue Jays game. We will have Pac-Man Scratch-Offs in the Maryland Lottery, and our friends at Liberty Pure Solutions making the water. This is the water from Liberty Pure Solutions, and this is the beer from Faidley's that does not go with the Jiffy Lube Multi-Care. But so you pulled up. Today's my wife's birthday. We started everything early. Luke and I did a whole hour on why the Orioles don't walk a whole lot and how it doesn't matter. And then Bill Henry and I did how he doesn't fill the potholes, even though he's the controller of the city. And then I'm taking a break, and I'm having like a beer and a crab cake, and like you walk. I didn't know you were here today, so you just show up sometimes. You own the place. You run the place. Why are you here today?
Well, I'm here every day. It's just a matter of what time. I had to take care of some things out in Catonsville before I got
What is
over
going
here.
on there? Because I'm going to be at State Fair next week. Tell me what. Because I ate at State Fair with my wife last week. We had the chicken and waffles, and I looked over, and it looks like stuff's happening, right? I mean,
a lot of stuff.
You swore this was never going to happen, and look at how beautiful it turned out.
I know. It did turn out beautiful. I'm really proud of this. It's really beautiful.
It should be.
But in Catonsville, we are we're in full swing now. So we got our building permit about 8 weeks ago, and
that's why it looks like stuff's happening, because stuff is happening.
Exactly.
Right.
We had to wait for. We had a demo permit, but we didn't have a building permit. So now we finally got a county building permit, and so they
go Johnny O.
We have lifted. Took long enough.
I saw him last week. That's right. He's running for things.
We lifted the roof over there in the whole back. I don't know if you saw this.
I never went into the original space. You showed me pictures. It was
come out.
It was a wallpaper place, right? Or
yes,
what? Right?
Yes.
That's what it was.
Hey, can we do this thing like a tour on this?
Yeah, sure. As it goes along.
Yeah.
Well, we did that here, except there was nothing sexy about it. There was a bunch of plywood and your mother's picture all over the floor. And then the next thing I know, you're serving me a crab cake and it's open.
I know.
Well, it's like the magic that happens is amazing.
This is far more
intense.
This is far more intense.
Oh,
yes.
yeah.
So I have all the wood from the old building.
How old's that building?
The one that we're renovating is 100 years old. So the one that was next to it was
left the building that
was
100 years old.
I know, it was about 150. So, no, that was only 70 years old. That one was built in 1952.
Was it really?
Yeah.
All right. Just felt like it was a million.
I know.
To me, it felt like a million years old. But this thing's a couple of years old. From a standpoint of this, Damye Hahn's our guest, by the way. She's Nancy's daughter. She sort of runs things around here. She's getting the fishmonger's daughter, which will be an extension of Faidley's. It's in the parking lot where State Fair in Catonsville is.
Yeah.
This project here and everything that's happened here, you've been open 6 weeks. You didn't even have your grand opening yet. Your grand opening's next week, right? The mayor's coming,
that's right? Yep.
So
somebody from the mayor's
what
office.
have you learned as a lifer, fishmonger's daughter, seafood person, business owner, dealing with the city, dealing with the county, dealing with markets? Now that you're here, what has this been like the last 6 weeks for you, being in here? Because this was like making an elephant baby.
It was.
This wasn't a regular baby. This was like a 5-year baby, basically.
It was. So it's all these things take time. It's not like you pop them up overnight.
And patience doesn't work for you and me.
No. Thank God we're both ADD.
Oh,
That's
man.
how we get anything
You saw
done.
me sitting down having a beer, and I think you looked at me, you're like, I've never seen you slow down.
No.
You've never seen me sit.
No.
You were like, I'm so happy you're having a beer. And I'm like, yeah, I guess I do. I mean, you've never seen me sit down.
Relax
in 7
is
years.
not in the vocabulary.
Well, it's my wife's birthday, and I'm always relaxed when I'm here. I don't ever feel any pressure. But I love the space. And I was telling Alicia, like, I didn't have space to be able to do this at 2 p.m. I would have been right. I would have been in your way.
Right.
And like, I'm not in the way here. And I see Orioles fans come in. I'm seeing the cars go. There's a lot of traffic today. There's a lot of people down here. this is your first like foray into nice weather here too.
Yes.
So you had your outdoor deck open.
Yep. Everybody was out on the patio.
I saw
today.
2 ladies having crab cakes when I walked by. They were smiling. They looked so happy, and they
a
were
gorgeous day.
outside, right?
Yeah.
But you haven't had a lot of that yet. So the best is still yet to come here.
Right. I mean, I think this summer's going to be excellent. We're happy with the space. It's bright, it's cheery, but I got all the Faidley stuff here, all the old pictures and all the old articles, and it's so fun.
I had 2 people when Luke and I were here doing a show.
Mm-hmm.
There were people here, and they stand about here to take their selfies. So
Right.
they're backing up into me because they need to get the picture of the whole thing.
Right.
Because it's more to take in.
It is more. Well, I think it's just as busy to take in as the other place was. So the other place you kind of had to walk around to see everything. You can actually stand in one spot.
The other place was dark.
It was.
Yeah,
we
I mean,
didn't
you
have all
couldn't
this
read
light.
everything, right? Now
We
you
have
can
all
see
this
everything.
sunlight now, which is wonderful. So, but it's interesting you say that. When all of our new Google pictures, when you look at the new pictures next to the old pictures, it still looks like the same place.
Well, and people get confused by that, tourists especially, right? Because they've never been here. And they come in, they think it's been here a million years, but it hasn't been.
Right.
They only knew the pain you went through.
Right.
So today we're going to do catfish, and you can explain, because I was going to call Marty Gary, drag his ass down here for an hour again. The catfish, the invasive catfish, anybody that knows anybody that fishes. I did a podcast for my buddy Sam Tudor, who's a huge fisherman. He's got a YouTube channel. He's a wonderful guy. I've known him my whole life. And he he holds these big, and they're these big sloppy, they look
Slimy.
like Jabba the Hutt fish, right? And when and like they eat everything. I've seen them
eat
cut
everything
open.
and they grow really fast.
So give everybody the story in the thumbnail about, and I'm going to eat these little SOBs
yes.
here.
So we've
So
got
these
a
are-
basket full of catfish nuggets here.
So when I used to go to Chili's and lived in the neighborhood, and I would get a lemon pepper catfish on a menu at a chain restaurant, what am I getting there? Is that that's a farm raised,
yeah.
and we're farm,
probably from the Delta, somewhere down in
Mississippi, that area. Okay,
and it could be anywhere. There's
so
farms in
historically, when
Virginia.
you say
There's-
catfish on a menu, even your menu, that was the catfish we were familiar with, right?
Well, it depends on
They had 'em
what
here.
air.
They had channel catfish here, right?
Yeah, my dad grew up in Kansas, and they had them in every stream out there. But what happened was, about 10 years ago, I think it was, that the Department of Natural Resources allowed a sport fishing group to stock a couple of rivers, Northern Virginia. I think one of them.
This reminds me of the part in the movie where they don't listen to the scientists, right?
Yeah.
Literally.
Yeah, and I'm not even sure if there was how much consulting there was done, but
they effed up.
They did because they swore that the catfish would never come out of the fresh water and invade the Chesapeake Bay
Because they couldn't acclimate to the salt.
Because they wouldn't be able to acclimate to the salt. Well, lo and behold, 13 years later, that not only did they acclimate, they've taken over.
And I'm stuck eating them right now.
So they have literally they've decimated a couple of species, and in particular, the rockfish is they'll eat the baby rockfish. They'll eat some of the other great fish that we had. I mean, I haven't even seen a spot. I mean, they're like gone. And
oh, wow.
and then the other thing that they're eating is they're eating all the baby crabs. Because they're, down by the sand, they're down by the bottom, they're bottom feeders. And actually the ones that these sport fishermen put in, and it was the blue channels out of the Ohio River that they brought down. And they're a great fight for fishing, but they'll swim. And they eat so much that it's unbelievable.
Well, look how fat they are. Yeah. I mean, all you can do is look at them and say they didn't do that eating grass.
Well, some of them can be like half the size of this table here. They're huge. They're huge.
And we are, we're compensating people for catching these fish, right?
Well, yes, they're trying to get them out.
The snakeheads were a big part of this, right?
It's a little too little, a little too late. But they're trying to create an industry for these wild
Well, that's why I'm
cats.
eating it, right? I mean, the whole idea, and I talked to John Shields, who I know is a friend of yours up at Gertrude's, about this, and I talked to Martin Gary last year. I mean, anytime I talk crab cakes and I come out and I'm just not having fun or talking politics or sports, when we're actually talking about oyster recovery, we're talking about crabs, true blue, things that come out of the bay, and sustainability. Anybody in the fishing space knows about these fat catfish.
Right.
Everybody, I think, publicly knows about snakehead. Because snakehead was the first thing in our lifetime, in our
we
adulthood.
were worried about that invasion, but
And
the
that was-
catfish far surpassed the snakehead.
Yeah, but with the worry of the snakehead has become the reality of the catfish, right? Of what's happened here.
Exactly.
And they're big and they're fat, and honestly, they taste good.
They do taste
good. I'm sitting here. I made you make these for me. Tell me what you made me here. These are like cornbread dusted, right?
Yes, that's our cornmeal breading,
Yeah.
so it's gluten free. But yes, we just dust them in
Remoulade, a little remoulade here.
Yes, and that's it. Little lemon. But they're easy. They're easy to eat. They're relatively inexpensive for a protein source. So eat more catfish. The more catfish we eat and can get rid of, the better off our crab industry will be.
You selling a lot of it? Be honest. I mean, do people not want it?
Not enough.
It says we got to rename it. You can't. Cat. I love my cat. People, catfish. Like another name for it. Invasive little SOBs that taste good. Is that good?
The ones that eat crab taste better, right? You
Well,
are what you eat.
Yeah. Well, we're at Faidley's, and I eat here often. We are not doing the show here during June before Oriole games on Fridays. Got a couple of conflicts. We're going to be at Fleet Week down at Cooper's 2 weeks from Friday. 28th, I'm taking the day off because Hootie and the Blowfish is touring, and they're my buddies.
Oh, nice.
So I'm taking, like they don't come out as often as they should. I've been concerting up. I mean, my hips messed up. We walked 20 miles in New York last week, and we went to see the Rolling Stones over at the MetLife Stadium. I saw Pearl Jam last week. I saw Joe Jackson this week. I need to just work. I'm staying home and working, so I got crab cake tours everywhere. Our friends at the Maryland Lottery give me the Pac-Man scratch-offs. We have the Lucky Sevens we'll be giving away the next time that we're down here at Faidley's. We encourage you. You can order online. You can ship crab cakes anywhere in the world. 4th of July, crabs, seafood. If you have not been to the new Lexington Market,
Come visit.
I really look forward. I said to my wife, it's not like work. Like I bring this stuff down here. Now that the weather's good and I'm not freezing or getting wet, the Oriole part of this and Oriole traffic.
It's so easy to park up here, get something to eat, and go to the game.
I do it all the time.
It's so easy.
And I shouldn't say, I can't act like I've been doing it this way for 30 years because I live downtown.
Uh-huh.
I live down here. The first 5 years I did the show here, I would drive here because the equipment was too much, but, I would drive home. I walked everywhere down here. So I wouldn't park anywhere, really. I mean, I didn't really park in the city at all for 20 years because I walked everywhere. The parking situation, if that is an encumbrance for you, it's kind of crazy. It's not.
It's not.
And especially here where
we have
I
plenty
can
of
see the
parking
stadium lights
in
from here.
our-
We're 3
yes.
blocks away,
Right.
But a lot of people don't think that way because it's not freeway. But if you're coming from the north especially, if you're coming down 83,
Yeah.
this is a way better way to do it than to actually go to the stadium and fight, especially when there's 40,000 people there. I mean, team's good
and
now.
even if
There's
you're
traffic.
Even if you're going west from here, you just hop on Route 40 and go west.
Sure.
You could go east or west, or Route 40 is 1 block away.
And the other thing is if you're coming into the city up 95, just running up Green Street.
Yes.
And coming up this way and deciding.
Green Street is Russell Street for those who
Well,
don't
but
know.
these 6:35 games, you could be here 4:35 o'clock, have a delicious meal, cheaper on the outside and way better as well. But it's one thing I don't think about with Faidley's. I think about your crab cakes, but you have beer here.
Yes, I do.
And you have oysters.
I've got local beers. I got Raven, and I've got the Tropicana over there. I got all the good stuff.
My wife came in at lunchtime, 12:30. It's her
Bows.
birthday, so she had a Stella from you.
Oh, good.
I've been sitting here all day, and believe it or not, usually I notice what people are eating, and it feels like 9 out of 10 people get a crab cake here. I don't know what your real sales are, numbers.
Yeah. More people get crab cakes than
anything else by a lot, right? You have all these other beautiful things on your menu. I had
and you
cream
can pick your
spinach
fish
today.
and get it cooked, so you can take whatever you want over there.
Does the sign say that?
No.
So I can
it
have
doesn't.
catfish if I want. We're going to put that on the sign.
Well, catfish is on the menu. It's just not cut up in
Everywhere
nuggets.
I've looked today, people have had oysters.
Yes.
And
oysters is another big thing. We sell a load of oysters. We probably recycle more oyster shells than anybody else.
Well, you have a whole
recycling center. Yep. And
tell everybody about that part of this, because I'm doing this oyster tour. I've talked to your oyster people. The Ravens open on that Thursday night, the 5th of September. I'm going to do 25 oysters in 25 days. And I started to research this. My wife and I were in New York the other day. We were walking the Chelsea Market, and they had a beautiful seafood place there. I mean, like a real built into the market, like you, but a lot more ice and a lot more square bar, like it was a seafood bar as much as anything else. Sort of like this, but more was sit around like your old bar had. And so it was a legit seafood place. I'd seen it before, all fresh, New York City, a little expensive, but that's okay. And I saw their sign, and they were making oysters, and I said to Jen, I'm like, I'm going to take a picture of every recipe that I see on a menu that looks like that's a little different. That's not just an oyster and cocktail sauce and a squirt of lemon. Right. It's like some specialty about the way they Rockefeller or the way they charbroil or whether they're using vinegar or garlic, things that I wouldn't necessarily – I would not tell you, go make me some oysters and put vinegar and garlic on it. But I want to try it because I've never done it. Because I know it must be good, right?
Oh, they're delicious. They're delicious. We have a grill back here now, so we are doing the baked oysters.
So what I want to do is I want to go to 25 different restaurants all over the state, and I want to do them 25 different ways. And you're going to help me with the oyster recovery people, but you saw a lot of oysters here for being a crab cake place, and this oyster recovery part. There's a lot of folks in summer, and I didn't know this, and part of the education part of this is the oysters are what we need to keep crabs alive. It has to do with oxygenation and grasses, right?
Yes. And the health of the bay. So the oysters are our bay's filter. So they literally are what filter the water.
Millions of gallons of water.
Yes. And so the more oyster the oyster population in the 1920s and 30s was high enough to filter the water of the bay one time each day, and now it takes it a couple of months. It got to the time so bad that our oyster population could only filter the water of the Chesapeake Bay twice a year. That's how bad we got. And we're building that back up. And what we didn't realize long ago, especially not until probably the 1940s, is that oysters need to grow on other oyster shells. So we were taking them out for years.
And leaving them too thin.
And no, not putting them back. So we were using those oyster shells where they were grinding them up and using them for chicken feed. They were putting them in the streets. The entire harbor is built on oyster shells. That was all marsh. It's all filled in with oyster shells. The oyster industry, we were the epicenter of the world's oyster industry. There was canning here. If you go down to the Museum of Industry, you can see.
I've seen that.
You see where we did all this canning, and it was from here, and they were dispersed all over the world. Well, all those oyster shells didn't go back. They weren't taking them back. Now today, the Oyster Recovery Partnership has ORP has done an incredible job where they have partnered with University of Maryland, and all of the oyster shells that we have
go
here,
back into the bay.
They get taken back down to the Horn Point Laboratory. They're cleaned. They're power washed first, left to dry for a couple of years so that they're a great substrate for baby oysters that they're bringing from the laboratory. So they
attach.
It's called the spat. So they'll spat those shells in these huge vats.
I just learned a word. Thank you.
Put them on the barges and take them out into what we consider dead zones, which are zones that are just mud. They don't have grasses. They don't have the nitrogen level and the oxygen level aren't good. But they'll fill them in with the oyster beds so that the oysters will grow there and start that cycle again.
And then the crabs come.
Yes. Because if you don't have the oysters and the grasses, it's really difficult to keep the crabs. No, they when they molt their shell, they use the grasses.
And then you got these some buggers in there eating them.
Yes.
In addition to that, right?
If there's no grasses for them to hide in, the catfish are just going to gobble them all up. Because catfish is a mud lover.
science
love
is
the
something,
bud.
right? I mean, and we let these
All the
crazy
biology.
catfish
Yeah.
into this. Well, the more I can do to educate folks, and that's part of eating oysters every day.
Yes.
Is as I'm eating them,
Yep.
I'll be telling that story.
And we-
you're the one that really, I mean, you've really been a godsend to me years ago. I should thank you publicly as well as privately, but just teach me about this stuff, because doing this crab cake tour, it's fun. It's fun to eat them and pick on the tartar sauce and whatever, and, you know, is yours better than Faidley's or mine better? They're all great. They're all
Yes.
different.
Yeah.
But more than that, in order for them to exist, the oysters are like sit at the backbone of that.
They do, and we consider ourselves here at Faidley's, having been here for 5 generations and 138 years, ambassadors of the Chesapeake. So we the Chesapeake Bay. Without the Chesapeake Bay, we
There's
don't
no
have anything.
Faidley's, right.
We don't have anything. So we're into the shell recycling. We're into we sell we recycle more shells here than, like I said, most places. But we make sure that we do it. And I know it's a pain in the butt. It's easier to throw them away, but we do it the right way.
Well, that's the way we want to do it.
That's
Damye
right.
Hahn is here. She's at Faidley's. She is the fishmonger's daughter.
Yes.
All right. Don't lie to me. When are we getting Catonsville open?
It's looking like
You're gonna lie
10
to me.
months, maybe.
All right.
10 months.
15 months. I'll say.
Well, yeah.
Well, at 50%,
hey, I gotta,
you know.
wait a minute. I gotta take into account
What is
all
10
the
months?
government agencies.
10 months is, so this is June, so you're saying maybe April. Maybe
I'm
April.
thinking April, 1st of April next year. But I would love to do this. We'll do a little tour over there.
I'm in.
Walk through. I'll show you the old wood and all the things we're doing, all the fun stuff.
All right.
Maybe we need to get a camera.
Tour Catonsville. I will be touring Catonsville on Thursday. I will be at State Fair
Yeah.
for breakfast and brunch before the Orioles play 1 o'clock game against the Blue Jays. We're rescheduling the Coopers. We're going to do it on Tuesday. I'm going to move it next week. We're going to be at Coopers on the 14th down in Fells Point for Fleet Week as we fly over. We're also going to be, we're going to be at Costas on the 20th. We're going to be at Pappas on the 25th. And I know we're somewhere else. Either way, we have the Maryland Lottery scratch-offs from our friends. Pac-Man scratch-offs to give away. We're here at Faidley's at Lexington Market. We're back here in about 5 weeks. First week of July, we're back here before the All-Star break.
Oh, nice.
How about these Orioles? Huh? You've
They're
been going?
amazing. I've been going. I got my seats. I go every chance I can.
I knew you for years before I realized what a baseball mom you were. So,
Yes. Yep,
hold on.
yep.
My wife is coming in the door here, and she's on the phone with her fan. It's her birthday, so I want to have her on. She will not eat the catfish. So don't offer it to
No,
her. All right, she
okay.
doesn't. She's not fishy like
Right.
that. Don't make her turn you down on the air. So
There you
here,
go.
we got to wish you happy birthday to start the day.
Happy birthday.
So my wife parked the car today at the garage, and she took the little coin ticket with her. So I had to wait for her to come back. So we bought time. Damye gave me a whole education. You're breathing heavy. Would you run?
No, I walked.
Okay.
It was uphill.
It's like a mile and a half.
Yeah.
More than a mile.
So
and
she
a half.
brought me invasive catfish. I know you're not going to eat it. I told her
I'll take a bite.
she's not going to like it. Go ahead. Turn it down. It's your birthday. You don't have to
Is
do
it
this.
fishy?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's catfish.
Yeah, but like the catfish we had with John and Jackie at
Here.
Flying Fish.
Remoulade. There you go. Let's see if you like it or not. What do you think?
Good.
Yeah, it's just it's great. Kids love it.
It's a mild white fish.
Yeah.
These
it's
big,
easy.
fat, invasive, Jabba the Hutt, sloppy. She's going for seconds. Oh, she's going
And
for a
lemon.
little lemon on that. That's fine. How's it
don't
feel to
blame
be
her.
old? How's it feel? Good?
You would know.
That's a good point.
You're older
That's a good
than
point.
me.
It's my wife's birthday. This is why she doesn't do the show very often, so it's fine. Here, you get a lottery ticket, too, because you're of the
thank you.
age. Yeah.
I appreciate
Yeah.
that.
Friends and
I hope I win.
I hope it's a winner.
friends
Yeah.
and relatives and sponsors are eligible. It's a lot. You're eligible. It's your birthday.
You're going to start singing?
See, the best part of her birthday, she comes into me this morning, and like all of my sponsors, Curio Wellness, they all send these coupons for birthdays.
Oh, nice.
So she's got 25% off half the city today.
There
She's got
you
her,
go.
She got her nails done. She's
I got a pedicure. Of course, I'm
Pedicure.
wearing my
and then she
sneakers
put
now.
the tennis shoes on.
Yeah.
Tell everybody you're doing okay, because there's 2 questions I get everywhere I go in life now.
Where's
One,
Jen?
how's your wife? That's usually the first one, but not lately. Are the Orioles going to let you back in? It's the first question they ask me. So I get that one all the time. The answer to that is probably not. Probably not.
But we're still hoping.
I'm under review. They're listening. It's kind of like the Dream Police song, you know? They're wide awake. They won't let me alone. They don't get paid or take fake. My wife Jennifer's here. Damye Hahn is here. It's all brought to you by our friends at the Maryland Lottery. I have our Pac-Man Scratch Offs. We'll be back here in a few weeks. We're going to be all over the city doing the Maryland Crab Cake Tour. None as fine as here at the world's. What would I call you? You didn't invent the crab cake, but your mom sort of like put the jumbo lump crab cake on the map.
She did.
They
She did.
perfected
She's the
it.
queen of. She's the queen of that crab cake. That jumbo lump style, the big ball style, that was hers.
I'm looking at the
They
stories
used
from
to be
Alan
little
Richmond on the
patties,
wall from
you know?
35 years ago, and I saw your mom at the original opening here that night, and she was over there, and I was having a crab cake, and BJ Suroff, you had people here, and I dragged her over here, and I said, "This is my new set. This is where we're going to do the show." And I said, "I'm looking at you. Your picture's on the wall." And she said she wanted to redo the picture. She'd be looking at me like this the whole time and pointing at me. So I got you, Mom. Nancy's here on Saturdays, sometimes mixing it. Is she still coming Saturdays, mixing them up? All right.
Yep.
Saturday mornings. Come down to Faidley's. Enjoy a crab cake. Enjoy a beer. I got you as much beer as you left me last time.
I shared.
I got one sip.
I shared. That's not my fault.
It's your birthday. I had a whole beer on your birthday.
And you had some of
Damye
mine?
caught me. She saw me sitting on the job. She's never seen me sit down ever in her life.
When did you
She said, "What do you?"
sit?
She saw me having a beer
you
and was
weren't
happy
here.
for me. Yeah, exactly.
It's like, oh my gosh, he's sitting down having a beer.
Get down here, eat some catfish, get some oysters. We're doing the oyster tour. It's going to be brought to you by our friends at
Yes.
Faidley's. My thanks to Liberty Pure Solutions for keeping our water clean and safe, as well as Jiffy Lube Multicare for being an annual sponsor of the Maryland Crab Cake Tour. Signing off because she's got cake to eat, regular and crab amongst others.
I already did the crab cake, though.
Yeah, she had the crab cake first.
Good.
That was, upon arrival, she was given the. I told you she's got.
Faidley's is right at the top.
She
know.
loves
I
mustard.
know.
She loves mustard. She loves your crab cake. So I don't ever come
and I
down
usually
here.
like them broiled, so that
Yeah.
they're fried, yeah.
When I come here,
And
I
we like the
take
little
crab
crunch
cakes
on
out.
the outside. You can get it broiled. It just takes longer.
Snakehead next time.
I can get some steak. Yes, next time I will make
Am I
sure
gonna
we have
like it?
steak head. Yes, you're gonna actually you're gonna love it. You're gonna like it better than catfish.
Dennis told me I'm going to like it. I've had a couple
Yeah.
people tell me that I'm going to like it. All right.
Yeah, you're gonna
Sam
like
Tudor said I'm going to like it too. All right, I'm Nestor. We're at Faidley's. Signing off. It's Baltimore Positive. Enjoy the beautiful weather.